Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
And welcome to the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Big Dawg Crypto. Our next guest is a very special one. I have followed this guy on Twitter for a while, and he is one of the biggest names in the space. Carl from the Moon, how you doing?
Hello, man. I'm doing very, very well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Cool, brother. I appreciate you coming on. So let's get right into it. Right now, the markets of crypto, as we know, have been pretty wild. I think it's fair to say we're doing a little better than we thought we would start in 2023. What are your views as far as how Bitcoin is performing since the beginning of the year?
Well, first of all, I feel like we've seen a very severe bear market. We've seen a lot of FUD and negativity, and there's been a FUD about, of course, FTX, Luna, Celsius, and even about Binance. Binance has yet to have any kind of failure, so it seems like Binance should be all good from my point of view. But that didn't stop people from FUDding. And that's the thing with the bear market. Like in the bear market, people make things up that just for the bearishness, just in the bull markets, the bullish news gets overhyped. In the bear market, the bearish news gets overhyped, but to the bearish side. And that's something we've have to deal with now for 1 year, like a lot of bearish news and bearish sentiment. I believe we've seen the worst for sure. I mean, the FTX was basically the climax of the bear market, I believe. I think that from now on, we're going to see better times. In the next 3 years, I believe we're going to see crypto go bullish/neutral. I don't think we're going to see bearishness now. I think we've seen the bottom already. And I've seen many charts that I've looked into, and I've been diving into the monthly, weekly, and many different indicators. And almost everything, in my opinion, points towards the fact that we are entering into the next cycle now, which means that we've seen the bottom and we're moving into the next cycle, which means that in the next 2 years, we're going to see another big blow off top, probably to like 200K, 300K, maybe higher. So I'm bullish.
Well, it's interesting because one of the things that after the FTX debacle, I think like years ago, and you've been in the space a while, so you've seen a lot of stuff. Bitcoin would have dropped 60, 70%, whatever it may be. I think it dropped about ballpark 20% from when it was on the tear, let's say in October or so, November, and now it's recovered. Were you surprised to see it only drop that much? And I'm specifically after the FTX. I mean, did you think, were your thoughts it's going to go a lot lower? What were you thinking about that, and how do you feel about the recovery?
Well, before FTX, I actually thought that Bitcoin is not going below 20K. And I think if FTX didn't go bankrupt and collapse, then I don't think we would have gone below 20K. That's the first thing. Because usually in the cycles, Bitcoin never goes below the previous all-time high, the previous cycle top. But of course, when FTX came out with when the FUD came out, when FTX went bankrupt and collapsed, that of course was a black swan event that just threw all the technical analysis out of the window. That happens sometimes. And was I surprised that we didn't go lower? I would say no. Okay. I would say that what happened is pretty much what I actually always said was going to happen if we break 20K. So essentially, I always said we're not going below 20K, but if it were to happen, then I believe we're just going to go down to 16K, liquidate some longs, because everyone thinks that Bitcoin is never going below 20K, which means that many people will put their liquidations there and stop losses, but they're not going to put them at 10K or 5K because it's unnecessary, because 20K is the cushion, the safety line, then why would you put it at 10K? You can just put it at 18, 17, 16, right? So that's why I always thought if we break 20K, we go down to like 16, 17, maybe 18, and then we go back up again. Because when you break 20K, everyone will start screaming 10K, 5K, 3K.
Right.
Which is the exact same that happens in the bull market. When we broke to 50K, everyone said 60K. When we break to 60K, everyone like now 100K, 200K. Like all the bulls get too bullish and all Lambo this, Lambo. Same in the bear market. When the bears become euphoric. So you break 20K. Now they're like, oh, okay, let's go 10K, let's go 3K, like let's go to 0. Peter Schiff comes out of his cape.
Of course.
That is like so it's the exact same thing. That's the funny thing. Like bull market and bear markets, they are the same. It's just different directions. And it's they are polar opposites. And you have euphoric bears just as you have euphoric bulls. And that's the reasoning behind why I predicted that if we break 20K, we're just going to see exactly what happened now, actually, and then go up, back up. And when we break back above 20K, we're going to just go up. I don't think we're going to go below the lows again.
So when you look at this year, next year, so I think what halving is in March of 2024, I think March or so. Would you want to give do you like doing predictions as far as like a possible high for 2023, and then perhaps let's say within the year after the halving? And I always say predictions, like we kind of guess, right? We look at it, we don't know. Somebody asked me one time, can you guarantee? I'm like, no, if my crystal ball comes from Amazon, I can guarantee it. Until then, I'm just giving you my opinion, right? So do you want to kind of share your thoughts on the high this year, next year?
Okay, so first of all, I made a video on my YouTube channel just like I think yesterday, where I made a very, very clear prediction of why I think Bitcoin actually could go to $50,000 within the next 3 to 5 months. Okay. And usually I don't give such clear like predictions because I'm usually very cautious with saying things like that. But now somehow there's many things aligning. The technical analysis that I've done in that video and other videos, they all point towards the fact that we've seen the bottom and we're likely to see a break towards the upside here. We have bullish divergence. We have, the RSI, many different things are pointing towards that. But also looking at the OTC market, we're looking at, many of the insiders that I know in the crypto industry. Many of them see in the OTC market, see movements that points towards the fact that we for sure have bottomed out and that we're going to see a very, very, very dramatic increase in the price very soon. So I would say I have both insider information and technical analysis and my own gut feeling, all pointing towards the fact that we have seen the bottom and that we could see Bitcoin go to $50,000 within the next 3 to 5 months. Whether it's 30K, 40K, 50K, let's see. But I'm quite sure we're gonna go up, unless there is this big thing coming out, Binance collapses, or I don't know, there's another war. Like there are things that could throw this off the table.
That's and you're right. I mean, because that's talking to somebody the other day. As long as that, like Binance, if Binance collapsed, that would reset the whole industry. We don't want that. And then obviously something war-wise. Yeah, right, exactly. Well, no, because the things I was talking the other day, the guy, I said, look, I feel like we're so used to bad news now. Like even if you come out, let's say the U.S. says, okay, we're officially in a recession or just whatever, other stuff like that. I kind of feel like the market's kind of used to it now. But as long as Binance and we're good, hopefully. But
yeah, I agree with you. Like. Yeah. First of all, if they come out and say that we've been in a recession, I think all of us in crypto, we're quite intelligent. We would just say, okay, well, sure, we've been here in a recession. Right. Already. Like, come on. Captain obvious, right? And also, I don't think that a recession necessarily it is not bad for Bitcoin, but of course, in the short term, it means less liquidity to go into Bitcoin. So it will be harder for Bitcoin to pump, so to speak. But it fundamentally doesn't change Bitcoin. Actually, just strengthens Bitcoin because it just points towards the fact that the economy is very fragile. You have these booms and busts because of the fiat monetary system, which is a fiat, like imaginary money printing system, which is not sustainable. And of course, that just points towards the fact that Bitcoin is a better solution than the current monetary system. So I don't see the macroeconomics going into like recession as a threat to Bitcoin. But of course, like there might be an initial sell-off just because big news come out, and so I would say that like you said, we've seen so much bearishness already.
Right.
Something really bad has to happen for this to keep going down.
I mean, at this point. Well, so look, so as far as content, so you have a lot of content. You have your Twitter account. You've got your YouTube. I want to ask you about your YouTube channel. When did you start that? And what would you say is kind of like the most fun of it, or what takes a lot of time of it, or like how reviews? Let's say people are looking to start a channel, right? They're looking to start something. What advice would you give new people that want to produce content that you've experienced from what you've done?
First of all, I think that the number one step is to get started. Many people, they fail on step number one. Actually, like 95% of people.
Right.
So step number one is to just like jump off the sofa and actually start doing it. Whether it's starting the Twitter or a YouTube, like start with actually creating the account. Like most people listening right now, they didn't even do step one. And in that case, it's completely useless to listen to the rest of what I'm going to say. So start with starting your account, Twitter, YouTube. And after that, get the courage to actually make that first piece of content. On Twitter, it's easy. You make a tweet, easy. Just come up with something. Bitcoin's going to 100K or whatever. And on YouTube, that's like a bigger barrier. Some people are a little bit hesitant to making video content because it's a little bit like, intimate. Then I would say the first step is make a video without showing your face. Actually, my first 3-4 videos on my channel, I didn't show my face because I was a little bit scared, I guess.
Right.
But it made it easier. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to everything, so you just have to get started, and then I think it's more about like just doing the content that you would enjoy watching yourself, something that you would enjoy doing. Like you have to, like if you know technical analysis, perfect. Make TA videos. Like it's actually quite easy. You just draw these lines that you do every day, anyways. If you want to focus on news, just go to Cointelegraph, start reading the news and give your opinions, and don't be afraid of giving opinions, because opinions is what people subscribe to, not the news itself, because you can just go to Cointelegraph and read it yourself. People want your opinion. So I would say that. And then of course, it's very important to make people actually watch your videos. So title and thumbnail, very important that they're quote unquote clickbait, right? You need to game the algorithm. You need the algorithm to push you, which means that the title and the thumbnail have to be SEO optimized, search engine optimized, and algorithm optimized, which is it's a whole science behind that. But you learn by doing. I've been doing probably close to 3,000 videos now, at least 2,000 videos, and you learn. Like now I understand the algorithm very easy. And the best thing is experience. So instead of asking me all these questions, it's better for people to literally just start, make a few videos, make a few tweets. You will learn. And then you will have even better questions. Like those questions that you have after making a few pieces of content will be like more like advanced questions that will actually help. But getting started is number one. Most people fail.
You just said something very interesting, and I got to agree with you on this. When you said like the first few episodes you didn't show your face, and then you did, and I'll give you kind of a confession. So I've never told anybody this. Okay, before you, first person I ever told. When I did my first episode, I had CZ on. I was very happy that and honored that he came on. But I did not air that episode for almost 2.5 months. And you say, well, why would you? Because I had never doxed myself before, right? I'd been on Twitter, right? Several years, dog on Twitter. And I was kind of like nervous and stuff. Well, you know what? No one cared. I guess what I'm saying by that is like, I think we're on Twitter, right, all the time, and people are so used to it. But I've talked to so many people that are like, well, look, some people have reasons they don't want to. I get that. But there's, and I know, right? You got a lot of people. There's some people that kind of want to do it, but they're like nervous. And it's like, nah, just get out there. I mean, if you can, right? As long as it's something you want to do. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like you said, just get started, just do it. And then once you do it, you know what I mean? Like you just get experience, and then it becomes fun, So
100%, 100%. Step number one, get started. And of course, like, you should only do things that you enjoy. So after a while, if you clearly, or if you honestly don't enjoy it, then do something else. But I mean, you should try it for sure. I think making content is fun, and crypto is such a small industry. So it's like, you get to know other cool people that make content. You meet them at conferences. It's like a little family, you know. I know all the big YouTubers and many of the big Twitter guys, and also this helps me meet very cool individuals, you know, like I met CZ multiple times and other CEOs of cool exchanges, you know. We're meeting often, like many of them even live here in Dubai, right? So I'm a good friend with many very, very, very cool people, and that's, you know, a lot thanks to the audience I built up.
So that's interesting. You just said that. I went to Dubai last October for the first time, and that's just, you know, like, so I'm here in the States, right? I never thought I'd go to Dubai. You talk about how crypto makes the world a much smaller place, and I've always said we're kind of like, it is like a family. It's not cliche-ish. I mean, it's kind of like we have our other social media, but you get on crypto Twitter, and it's like-minded individuals, right? And there's like a common bond between us, and so it's fun to interact online, but in real life. Right. I mean, I remember being in Dubai, like I never thought I would be here. And then seeing the crypto scene in Dubai has really taken off. I'd like to ask, since you brought Dubai, I was impressed with how much, I mean, I'm over there, you know, exchange people are there, you know, people I've dealt with in you know, different projects and stuff. What is your feeling about the crypto scene in Dubai?
It's incredible, honestly. Like, I'll give you an example. Just like 3 days ago, I was partying on a yacht here in Dubai with Brock Pierce, the founder of USDT, and CZ was there just the day before, so we missed each other that time. But me and CZ were partying on the yacht in Abu Dhabi just like 1 month ago, during or it was like maybe 2 months ago, I don't know. But yeah, so Abu Dhabi, Dubai, around here is like just insane people, like, you know, crypto billionaires, crypto entrepreneurs. The elite of crypto is definitely here, you know. Brock Pierce is, of course, founder of EOS, and he's doing a bunch of other stuff. So in general, you meet very, very good people here. It's super cool. So the networking is mind-blowing, really. Mind-blowing.
And it's, for everybody that's going to go, it's a beautiful city. I mean, I was blown away with how amazing, like, everything's big there. They've got the biggest this, the biggest that, and it's it's a very unique place. So 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 question I get all the time, I know you get this too: when alt season. Now, we don't know, we're guessing, right? Some say after the halving, some say, well, hey, it could happen this year because everybody thought this could be a horrible year. It's already started out better. Do you want to guess, or maybe when's a mini alt season and when's the one that everybody's waiting for? Or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm pretty convinced already what's going to happen with alts. So first of all, we've seen a very depressed market now. We've seen Bitcoin go down and taking altcoins down with them. In the crypto bear markets, we always see the same thing. Bitcoin goes down like 70%. Altcoins go down like 90 to 99%, like get completely destroyed because all the liquidity dries up and everyone flies to safety, which means they fly into Bitcoin or into the US dollar. So that's always the case. So if you go to CoinMarketCap, like, honestly, like, most coins are down like 99%. It's absolutely bloodbath out there. But it's not very surprising because it literally happens every single cycle. And what also happens in every cycle is that Bitcoin eventually recovers, but altcoins will lag behind for a little longer because the confidence doesn't come back immediately to alts. They start with coming back to Bitcoin, all the confidence. And then when Bitcoin has had a very significant run, let's say maybe like, I don't know, like a double or triple or even quadruple, and then when Bitcoin eventually consolidates and goes sideways, that's usually when altcoins just absolutely skyrocket, and we have a so to speak, altcoin season. So I would say altcoins are probably not gonna get much more destroyed now. It's more about just neutrally bouncing off of the support they've created. But I think the big altcoin season will happen maybe within the next like 6 months when Bitcoin is finally consolidating after exploding maybe to 50K.
Right. You know, I got to agree with you on that very much so, because you just said something that some people haven't said. And I agree with your point 100% that, alts are pretty much, I think, about where they're going to go. I mean, somebody the other day said, oh, they can go down 90% more. And I'm like, no, I mean, the thing is, yeah, of course, they can always go lower. But I think when you look at alts, and in a lot of projects, especially projects that are working, right, and working on stuff, people are pretty much holding at this point, right, waiting, and they know that at some point stuff's is gonna take back off in alts. But I don't think, somebody said the other day, oh, they're gonna go down 90% more. I'm like, nah.
Selling at these levels just doesn't make sense right now.
It's like at that point, I mean, why would you do that? Yeah.
No, it makes no sense. Like selling now, it's very strange. Like I'm buying now. That's what I'm doing. When people are bleeding on the streets, that's the famous saying. I don't remember who said it. Was it
buy the blood on the street? I think Warren Buffett or one of them. I don't know. Yeah.
Warren Buffett or Rothschild. I don't know. Someone
one of those. Might have been Rothschild.
On the streets. You want to buy. And even though it sounds horrible, but it is true. Like when liquidity dries up, when everyone screams sell and everyone is like flooding and negativity, like this is the time to be accumulating. That's why I actually put millions of dollars into Bitcoin in the past few weeks, because it's the best time to buy. Like I never saw a better time to buy in maybe Bitcoin history. Of course, I mean, if you take a time machine back to like 13 years ago, I would love to buy back then. But then the risk was higher. And that's the thing that people fail to understand, that sure, if you go back into time and someone tells you to buy Bitcoin, would you actually buy? Because the risk was very high back then. Like no one knew about Bitcoin. They were like, it was only alive for like 2-3 years. So the odds of it surviving is way less than it is today. And, so if you look at simply like risk reward ratio, honestly, the risk reward ratio might be higher today than it was 10 years ago, even though that sounds strange. But if you have to measure the perceived risk against the potential gains, and the perceived risk back then was definitely higher, and the risk was higher then. But the perceived risk today is, I would say, it's like very close to zero. Like Bitcoin is already there. It's already out in the open. The network effect, the high hash rate, you have governments and the big institutions backing it. Like it's not going anywhere. And even if someone tries to make it go down, you can't. Like you cannot destroy Bitcoin. You can only make the price go down a little bit, but that's it. You cannot hack it. You cannot destroy it. So it's going to be there whether you like it or not, which means that it's a very, very safe store of value, in my opinion. That's why I have almost all my money in Bitcoin, and the risk reward is fantastic. I still think we can see 100x from here with Bitcoin. Yeah,
I agree with you. And that brings a thing I want to ask you. I always like to ask all my guests, when you first heard about Bitcoin, I mean, the first time ever, do you remember where you were and where you heard about it?
Yes, I remember. Actually, I was in my bed watching videos on YouTube about self-development and like business, how to start a business. Because I was working in a grocery store back then, in a just normal supermarket in Sweden. And then I saw a video from some guy who his YouTube channel is called Project Life Mastery. So big shout out to that guy. He just made a video saying like, hey guys, this Bitcoin thing is something that my friends are telling me is a good investment. I personally don't know, but I just want to share this with you, something like this. And it just made me very curious. And this was the middle of 2017. And I immediately searched for Bitcoin. And I think within just a couple of hours, I was completely in. I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is going to change everything. Because I was already very, very into gold and silver, because I was researching the monetary system already. Because that was like something I was nerding out about, because I was always very skeptical against like governments, banks, and how they're run. So when I heard about Bitcoin, I already knew about kind of the reason why Bitcoin exists. So I didn't need a lot of convincing. I immediately understood. I just needed to kind of verify from different sources that Bitcoin was not a scam or anything. But took me a few days to realize that, you know what, this is it. And then I put my first $50 into Bitcoin. And then I started to take my grocery store salary every month, I put almost everything into Bitcoin, everything that I didn't need for rent or for food.
Right.
Everything into Bitcoin. And then I started my YouTube channel. I started trading, investing, and I started to build some good capital from of course, like everything from sponsorships, affiliate sponsorships, and my own trading. And then I built a very good capital, and eventually I invested in 400 crypto startups. That's, I think, many people are aware of now, because that made me quite famous in the crypto space, because it's like, I guess I'm the biggest like angel investor.
You're smart. Nice. Yeah.
Well, it made me some good money. I'll tell you that. But yeah, that's basically how it started. From one video I watched on YouTube, and then boom, to me being on these cool magazines today.
Well, and I think I want to add to that, because when somebody hears that, they're like, wow. I mean, on the flip side, you could have lost everything, right? I mean, you did well, but imagine all 400 of those crash. So I think when people invest in stuff like that, it's always important, like, to remember, it doesn't all, you know what I mean? Like, you could have lost everything. However, it worked out for you,
Well, I did lose quite a bit. I'll tell you that. Like at the very top of the bull market, I didn't make the exact calculations, but my net worth must have been absolutely insane, because all of these 400 startups, I'm still, to this day, we're still working on finding out everything about every single token, because there's so much work behind. It's just all the data alone, taking profits there, doing this there, and keeping track. So there's a lot. But at the very top of the bull market, I think my net worth must have been absolutely like astronomical, because not only did I hold Bitcoin and Ethereum, which was already like a lot of money, but these tokens, they were completely overvalued, all of them. Some of these tokens, I invested $20,000, and at the peak it was worth $4 million.
Right.
And I had another investment where I put 15,000. At the peak, it was worth $9 million.
Right. Wow.
Like, mind blowing. But it should be said also that most of these tokens were vested, which means that I couldn't sell even if I wanted to. So even to this day, I'm getting like vested tokens that were locked up for a long time. And yeah, but like, so this means that my net worth was insane, but also it wasn't something I could just liquidate. It wasn't possible, because it's always vested. But it's still, so that I think, there were many articles coming out about like Carl Runefeld, the crypto billionaire, and blah blah blah, because it was just it was insane times. But the thing is, now I think I lost probably 95%, let's say 90%, for sure, of all of that, because if you take the very, very top of the bull market to where we are today, for sure, I think 90% of my net worth is gone. But I'm still happy.
I think so. No, I mean, obviously did very well. But I have a question for you too. If there's new people in the space trying to research projects, I've always said, when I got in, I felt like I didn't always have the best content, whatever, and I try to get better about researching stuff. What would you advise somebody that's looking at a project? What are 2 or 3 things, 4 things that you want to see in a project when you research it?
Okay, so since some time now, I'm not really doing the research myself. I have my team. So I have a investment team. I have my head of investments here in Moon Group. So Moon Group is my company, my group. And then, but we have a strategy. So the strategy is usually we're looking for different niches. Right now, crypto gaming is something that I've been focusing a lot on. Also now, since just a few weeks, looking into artificial intelligence as well. So crypto gaming, artificial intelligence, but it's not exclusive. Like we invest in other things as well. But the most important thing, aside of the niche, is the team. So we always want to make sure that the team is public. Like, we don't want people to hide. And we want to make sure that the team has experience, and that the team seems to be well assembled to the point where this team could take care of challenges, whether it's regulation or there's something else. Like, this team has to we have to believe in the team more than the actual vision itself, because visions and ideas, they change with the market sometimes, but the team should be solid. And I guess that's kind of the most important thing. But other than that, it's like, it's a very individual case by case basis, I would say. It's like, it's hard to say exactly what strategy. And in the bull market, I invest in a lot of stuff. Now in the bear market, I invest in very, very few things, but I just invest more in the very few things I find.
Right. And that makes sense. I mean, that makes complete sense. Last couple of questions, non-crypto related. If a plane shows up and it's going to take you anywhere in the world, what's a country or two that you want to visit that you have not been to yet?
I would love to go check Japan.
Okay. Nice. Okay. That's friends that have been there said it's awesome. I've never been, but it's supposed to be very cool. And as far as your favorite foods, you're going out to eat, what's one or two things you love to eat?
Well, sushi, I think probably is my favorite, but it has to be good sushi because most sushi is usually a little bit medium, mediocre. I like this like high-end perfect sushi. Other than that, I would say Italian. I do love pizzas. Pizza is very nice.
You can't go wrong with that. So, okay, so tell people how to find you, your YouTube channel and your Twitter. What are the best ways to connect with you?
Okay, so if you want to learn more about my crypto stuff, I have my YouTube channel, which is called The Moon. I have my Twitter where it's Carl from the Moon. You'll just find it, I guess, if you search Carl or The Moon. But if you want to know more about like my lifestyle and my mindset and law of attraction and like how to become successful, I give completely like free advice and just free like motivation and inspiration on my vlog channel. If you just search my name, Carl Runefelt, you'll find it. And basically there I just provide people with inspiration to change their life to the better. And yeah, I'm not selling anything. I simply just want to get people off the couch, out there, change your mindset and live your dream life.
No, that's cool. It sounds like you've done it very well. You're trying to give back. And I think that's kind of, to me, giving content to me is like the best thing you can do in the space. So very cool. Yeah. Well, Carl, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Thanks.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, Big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.